Why this video? Well, why not? I'm not an expert, but I thought I'd share what helps an ordinary person be creative and think critically. Like most people, I had become passive, probably from too much TV, web games, etc. Think about it. When you watch TV, all you do is sit passively and stare at a screen. No thought or movement required. I also feel years spent in a mindless and repetitive workforce contributes to passivity. No, not just those menial labor jobs, but those glamorous office jobs. I've worked for both corporations and not-for-profit. Foolishly proud of each job, thinking this will be different. Just to be again surrounded by other disillusioned and miserable people, all fighting for the next promotion. No wonder it's such a rat race. Everyone dreams of getting out. So what changed me from a passive worker to an active thinker? I decided to go back to university, and I got lucky. I took an academic writing and research class aimed at prepping students for graduate school. The class was taught by a female professor in her 70s who insisted on teaching us the art of active reading, because if you can't read actively and critically, you will never be able to write with any depth and original thought. Critical thinking requires creativity. In fact, academics once debated calling it critico-creative thinking, as per Alec Fisher in his book, Section 1. Is the switch to active thinking that easy? No, it takes practice and hard work, but slowly, like waking up, your mind becomes active. Perhaps I had a bit of an edge because I'm physically active. Research shows exercise causes blood vessels in the brain to grow due to the increase in circulation, oxygen, and glucose. A 2001 article in the Annals of Behavioral Medicine found seniors who walked regularly improved their learning ability, concentration, and abstract reasoning compared to the sedentary seniors. A 2005 study concluded fit children and young adults had positive associations with working memory, cognitive processing speed, and response speed in children. I agree with critics of our TV culture that TV promotes passivity in thought and body. Unplugging the signal would help us regain our true nature. I say help because, like anarchists, I feel that our modern jobs are also to blame. Today's workforce is modeled after the ideas of Frederick Winsor Taylor. It is known as Taylorism. The problem is more complex. In fact, sociologist George Ritzer argues our entire culture suffers from McDonaldization. Everything is affected, from our jobs to our attitudes. Even universities have McDonaldized their students and faculty. So, how do we become active thinkers? I did through consciously choosing to employ the following active reading techniques. At first, whenever I read, I kept a cheat sheet outlining the following steps. Prior to reading, skim the text while asking, what is the topic? What do you know about it? Are you biased? Why are you reading this? Note your immediate response. This helps you remain objective and critical rather than prejudicial and/or emotional. 2. Who is the author or source? What do you know about them? What was their motive for writing it? Who was their intended audience? Are they biased? Noting this helps you ascertain the author's qualifications, biases, and motives. A professional customizes according to their motive, sell or inform, etc., and audience, such as conservative Christians, lawyers, typical MTV audience, etc. 3. Check the table of contents, headers, graphs, etc. Look at the references for sources. Ask yourself, has the author covered it in enough depth to be helpful? Check the language, emotional, objective, to determine if it is propaganda, opinion, etc. Noting this will help determine how much time you want to spend on the text, if it is even worth your time, or conversely, if they are concepts and or facts you want to remember. Actually reading. For each paragraph, make a note, preferably in the margin. Use a pencil. If the book or magazine is on loan, then use a sheet of paper. The note should be one sentence that synthesizes the paragraph's theme. In the margins, there's no room. Yes, the margins will force you to think and understand because you must be brief and use your own words and or symbols. For example, sad face drawn, 3 families foreclosed. This represents a lengthy, emotional paragraph that tells the story of 3 families who lost their home. To do this, you will have to determine, while reading the paragraph's idea, theme, and purpose, argues a point, generates sympathy, describes only, persuades. Doing this is reading actively, rather than passively absorbing text without thought or scrutiny. but there's still a bit more to active reading. So here are a few more examples of what we've learned so far. Sad face symbol. 3 families foreclosed, no economic recovery, equals paragraph, a conclusion, tone, sympathetic. Some authors take several paragraphs to reach a conclusion, such as this. So often it would be sad face symbol, 3 families foreclosed, today's harsh reality, equals first paragraph, descriptive tone, sympathetic. 12% foreclosure jump in January 2011 equals the second paragraph, description of fact, tone, objective. After reading, evaluate the text, noting. Appeals to emotion, quality of analysis, reasoning. Types of claims. Are they evidential, reasoned, assumptions, beliefs, generalizations? Are the facts relevant? Was the coverage comprehensive, oversimplified, broadly generalized? Where necessary, add a note. For example, sad face, 3 families foreclosed, today's harsh reality. Reason claim, no new note, because 3 families is not an indication of the economy. The second paragraph provides evidence, so there, at 12% foreclosure jump in 2011. New note, source realty track, 78,133 homes. Or use this good tip. Color code the claims as you make notes. For example, blue, evidence, pink, reasoned, yellow, belief, green, contradictory. Now identify the main thesis conclusion. This can be difficult. Sometimes the text is descriptive with small claims made but no argument is put forth. Lastly, note thesis and overall evaluations where appropriate. Note definitions and/or concepts that you'd like to remember. Also, you may want to note questions and/or clarifications you may need. This will allow you to easily evaluate the article's merit and relevance. Also, in the case of a bad argument, identify the fallacy used and/or propaganda technique. Here is a typical example of how someone studies an article, usually without the benefit of a color code. Instead, all paragraphs should be noted. For example, the first 2 paragraphs corrected, highlighted in blue because it's an evidential claim, up 12% January 11th, down 11% January 10th. The source, realty track, can be noted on the side or highlighted within the paragraph. Second paragraph, also the evidence in blue. Noted underneath, differences in process imply structural biases, judicial for people, non-judicial for banks. Yes, at first, this is tedious. It takes practice, but like adding and subtracting, it comes easily. In fact, it is easier. Soon your mind will function differently. Quite literally, different brainwaves are associated with different activities. For example, alpha is a relaxed state, such as watching TV. Beta, normal walking consciousness. Gamma, higher perception, higher consciousness, and higher mental activity. Why does this matter? Science Daily in October 2008 featured 2 articles on gamma waves. The first showed insufficient gamma wave activity might hinder the brain's ability to efficiently package images, thoughts, and memories. These results were replicated in both animal and human studies. The second was on children with higher gamma wave activity. Those children with the higher waves showed superior ability in language, cognition, and self-restraint compared to those with the lower gamma waves. This is a good start. I would suggest scanning articles or books during the week and selecting enough to read that you can spend 15 to 30 minutes a day actively reading. Do this instead of a crossword or video game. Your mind will thank you. You may even feel better.